Hello, I'm State Representative Jacquelin Maycumber. It's an honor and a privilege to speak with you today, to give you another perspective of the problems facing our state, and hopefully the solutions than what you just heard from Governor Jay Inslee. I'm a college graduate with a degree in biochemistry and a former law enforcement officer. I'm also a wife and mother of 3 creative and ingenious, beautiful souls. I've often thought that if the state politicians put as much thought and dedication into their work as my kids do in trying to stretch bedtime for another 30 minutes, we'd have every problem under the sun solved with time for a quick 2-mile run. I represent the 7th Legislative District, which is in northeastern Washington. We are home to the state's highest elevation pass, and at one point, some of the highest wages in the state. Now, we're home to some of the state's highest unemployment rates. Decades of increasing regulations and lawsuits by special interest groups have taken a toll on our resource-based local economies. But we're strong, we're adapting, we're fighting to preserve our values, our freedoms, our liberties, and our way of life. It's important you understand a little bit about who I am and a little about who I represent, because they serve as the backdrop for the next few minutes that I have with you. As I've listened to the families and communities in my district talk about their hopes, dreams, fears, and frustrations, here are some of the things I can hear them say. Crime continues to be a problem, yet we are tying the hands of law enforcement and punishing law-abiding citizens by encroaching on their liberties. Regulations and property taxes continue to increase under the illusion that it will help us, yet we're being priced out of our homes. We have spent billions on homelessness and affordable housing, yet the homelessness problem continues to grow worse and housing becomes less affordable. Why does it cost twice as much to pave a mile of road in Washington state than other states? Why does it take so long to get construction or manufacturing permits? State government continues to talk about problems in the billions, yet we at home are struggling to put food on the table, pay our mortgages and our utility bills. Our day-to-day expenses continue to go up, and yet this government, this governor wants more. These are all legitimate questions that affect my constituents and families and communities around the state. But is more the answer? More taxes? The governor wants $3.7 billion tax increase at a time when the state revenue collections are at an all-time high, when you, the taxpayers of this state, have already given more than any time in state history. More spending on new programs? Did you know that if Governor Inslee's budget that he proposed just a few weeks ago were to be approved by the legislature, state spending would have increased by 75% over 8 years? Let me repeat that. 75% in 8 years. How many of you have seen a 75% increase in your take-home pay in 8 years? Is more really the answer? More bureaucracy? At a time when our trust in Inslee's government is very low, with transportation projects behind schedule and costing state taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars more in cost overruns, with potentially thousands of prisoners released early because of technical glitches, only to commit more crimes. With the state being sued at an alarming rate, revealing serious problems in the state foster care system, juvenile justice system, mental health system, where problems at Western State Hospital are so bad, even the Seattle Times says there should be no more excuses. And Inslee's administration has let the dysfunction there persist too long. You heard our governor today tell us that more taxes, more spending, more bureaucracy will solve our problems. But more of his government means less time for you at home with your spouse, your children, your family, your friends, doing the things that bring joy, happiness, and fulfillment to your lives. It seems this governor has forgotten the people like you and me, the ones working hard for every dollar the state government spends. We need to make sure he doesn't forget those of us working in this Washington in his desire to go back to the other Washington. Perhaps instead of more, we should be focused on better, a better way for a better Washington. We in the legislature have a responsibility to the citizens who elected us to serve their interests and fight for their values. It is our job to listen to our constituents, amplify their voices in Olympia, and advocate for solutions that help them. And we will. And we expect to be held accountable for our actions. Our commitment to you is to work together in a bipartisan fashion to make sure we are doing everything we can to have strong families and communities, affordable living, and accountable government. Our objective is to find solutions to the problems and issues facing each and every Washingtonian, not just a select few. However, we will fight against efforts that we believe hurt the people and the communities we represent, including new major tax increases and other legislation that would add to the economic burdens of families and employers. And when we provide criticism, we will offer contrast and alternatives. If there is a better way, we will advocate for it, no matter who gets the credit. We believe strong families are the foundation for successful schools and vibrant communities. We understand there are different types of families, but we know they all want education, security, healthcare, housing, and economic opportunity. Let's work together to bring jobs to struggling communities facing high unemployment. Enhance career and technical education, career-connected learning opportunities. Work to bring high-speed internet access to underserved communities. Address the opioid abuse and prevent the expansion of supervised injection sites. Preserve our bipartisan education investments and reforms. Protect our children and schools, and direct funding to our special education classrooms and defend school choice. While our state economy is strong and unemployment is low, many families still face economic anxiety and live paycheck to paycheck. We also have too many people facing homelessness in urban, suburban, and even rural communities. The legislature should advance policies that make life more affordable and offer pathways forward for those who are struggling. State lawmakers must resist ideas that add to the economic burdens of Washingtonians. Let's work together to prevent new tax increases on families, individuals, and employers. Reform the Growth Management Act to address building density, job locations, and school construction. make housing and building more affordable, address the root causes of homelessness, enact a property tax reduction, freeze or reduce college tuition, and finally, once and for all, provide some car tab relief. Let's bring accountability back to state government. We have talented and dedicated state employees who provide valuable services. However, the decisions by leaders in state agencies have too often led to major failures, including the early release of prisoners, cost overruns in our transportation system, data breaches, and heartbreaking outcomes for children in our foster care system. An accountable government is always important, but especially when one party controls the legislature and the governor's office. Let's work together to control state spending and pass state budgets that are fiscally responsible and sustainable. Reform our mental health system. Protect the 4-year balanced budget rule. Prioritize funding for rape kits. Protect the state rainy day fund. Reform sound transit. And one that is very near and dear to me, very personal. Let's promote proper forest health, utilizing proven methods to prevent catastrophic wildfires, protecting our natural habitats, reducing carbon emissions, and improving air quality throughout the state. And finally, since the governor has spent so much time and energy focused on an extreme environmental agenda, no matter the cost to you and me, let me say this. Governor, it has been proven that we can reduce our carbon footprint and create a better environment by incentivizing clean energy and market innovations. However, your plan carves out the biggest polluters and puts the costs on the backs of those who could afford it the least, on the people, on our heating bills and on our gas prices, taking more of our hard-earned money, forcing us to continue to live paycheck to paycheck. It also exports our pollution to countries with little to no environmental regulations on their manufacturing processes, and yet the state of Washington still purchases those goods. In the end, Washington workers are hurt, jobs are lost, families pay more for energy and products, and no measurable change is made to global greenhouse emissions. To the citizens of Washington, I say this: there is a better way. Our commitment to you is to work harder, be more creative, care more deeply, and understand and listen to you, and be more dedicated than any other legislature in state history. The citizens of Washington deserve no less. You sent each legislator to Olympia to fight and work for you. We are ready to do that. And we welcome the challenges that lie ahead as we strive to find a better way for a better Washington. Let's make our state the best state in the nation to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and may God bless you and this most beautiful state we call home.